In this presentation, we will create an accounts payable graph within QuickBooks Pro 2020, QuickBooks Desktop 2020. Here we are in our Get Great Guitars file. We currently have the open windows open. You can open the open windows by selecting the view dropdown and then the open windows list. We're now creating a graph related to accounts payable whenever we think about anything other than the major financial statement reports, balance sheet, income statement. We want to think about how it will be supporting those major financial statements, balance sheet, income statement. This one having to do with the profit and loss. This one having to do with accounts payable, which is going to be supporting an accounts receivable on the balance sheet. Therefore, let's open up the balance sheet first. We're going to go to the reports drop down. We're going to go to the company and financial. We're going to then go down to the balance sheet standard report. We will then change the date to, we're going to change it to 02/29/20, 02/29/20. That's going to be the end of the month. If we scroll down then to the accounts payable, we see the 1,200. Now, this isn't going to be a very interesting graph because we only have one vendor involved here. So let's change this a little bit so we at least have a couple vendors. We're going to say, let's change this to the year-end date of 02/15/20. So 02/15/20, we're going to be in the middle of the time period. And then if we scroll down, we're at 1,368. Let's see if that's a bit more interesting of a graph. So then we're going to look at the graph. So we could go to the graph by going to the reports drop down. We can go to the vendors and payables and then look for the graph there. However, typically when I'm going into the graphs, I would like to see the graphs. I usually go to the report center and then I'll maximize the screen here. We're looking for the standard. We want to be in the vendors and payables. And then if we scroll down, we'll see the accounts payable graph. That's the one we're looking for. We could change the dates here. I tend to just like to open the report and then change the dates. So I'm going to run the report. Here is our report. It doesn't show anything. Usually when that happens, we're going to say, well, is it a date problem? Yes, there's a date problem. We need to change the dates. We're going to go up top to the dates. Now picking the dates in the middle of February, 02/15/20, to see a more interesting report, hopefully. At least we have two vendors involved here. So we've got the two vendors involved in that one, and that's going to be our graph for the accounts payable. Now, if we wanted to see some more supporting information for this, we could go to the reports drop down. We could go to the vendors and payables, and we could go to the vendor balance summary. So if we go to the vendor balance summary, as of the end of February, I'm going to say as of 02/15/20, 02/15/20, then we have our two reports here. So this is another kind of summary report that we can check in on. There's the 13868 here. If we go to the balance sheet, there's the 13868 there. If we then go to our graph, then there's the 13868 here. Here's the two vendors. These are the people we purchase from, Epiphone and Fender. We purchase guitars in this example and then sell the guitars from there. Now we could actually generate this graph fairly easy for a mock graph like that. If we go to that vendor balance summary, we can export these numbers here by going to the Excel tab. We're going to export it to our existing workbook. We're going to create a new worksheet within it. Then we're going to export it to our existing workbook. Going to browse to find it. There it is, double clicking on it. Then we'll export to it. Here we have it. I'm going to do some of our normal formatting. I'm going to go all the way to the left. I'm going to delete this tab that was created for the instructions, right-clicking on it and deleting it, saying delete. Then I'm going to go all the way to the right. I'm going to grab that tab, which is the sheet 1. I'm going to left-click on it, drag it to the right, so like so. And then I'm going to make this a little bit larger so we can see it a bit easier. We're at 100% right now. I'm just going to select the plus button so it's a little bit easier to see. Then I'm going to go to the layout, so the page layout view. Within the page layout, I'm going to say OK. We then have the split panes. I'm going to go to the view tab up top with those split panes in the Windows group, and I'm going to select the split. That removes the splits. Then I'm going to go back to, well, I can then rename it. I'm going to actually call this a graph because that's what we're going to make from it. So I'm going to AP graph. And then I'm going to go back to the prior screen, and I'm just going to delete the information we don't need. I don't need this information. That might be useful. I'll just keep it there. That's all we need. And then we'll go to the insert, and then we'll go to the, and then we'll highlight these items. Now we're in insert, charts, and then we'll go to the graph. We're going to make a pie chart. So that's the one we want. I'll select that. I can grab the end of it, make it a little bit smaller. And so that's another way we can basically make this graph again. Now, the one that we made in QuickBooks, we can also save into our Excel worksheet if we want to make that PDF file with all that information in it by going to the graph here. And then we could go to our Excel worksheet. Obviously, you can format this graph in a lot of ways. We could change the title on it or just delete the title if we don't want the title there as well. So you can then format it in a lot of different ways. We're going to try to put the other one down below. I'll put it down below here under the dotted line so it's on a new sheet. Then I'm going to go to the insert. We're going to go to illustrations. We're going to go to the screenshot. I'm going to make a screen clipping. And then I'm going to clip this graph. So I'll clip that. There we have it. It's over one page. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. And then I'm going to do the same with the key. I'm going to click on the insert, illustration, screen clipping. Then I'll pick up the key. So we'll take that. I want that in there as well. And so there we have that. So now we have this on our Excel sheet. So that's one way we can do it. Obviously, we can also go to QuickBooks here and we can print this. I'm going to print it as a PDF file. So I'm going to go back up top. I'm going to print. I'm going to print it to the QPDF printer. We're going to say print. And then where is it going to be located? And we'll put it into the financial statements. And then I'm going to call this then an AP graph. And this is as of actually 02/15, which is probably relevant information. And then I'm going to say save. And then if we go back to Excel, we saved it here as well. Now we can print this report with all our information on it. So we can go to the File tab. We can go to Print. We can then say, I want the entire workbook. So I want the entire workbook, which now is 18 pages. I won't go through them all again. So if I'll go through them after we print it. So we'll go to the Qt PDF printer. We will then print it. It's now going up to 18 pages, and then it's going to ask us where do we want to put it, and I'm going to say that we want to be on the prior tab. It's going to go into that folder. We're going to say save it and replace that folder. Then we'll check out what has been created. So if we then see where it has been done, we're in section 1 through 4. I'm going to delete this one because it's now a duplicate and it doesn't have everything in it. Now we saved it as a PDF here. So this are all the PDFs that we have so far that we have created. So we'd have to attach all those if we just want to attach all this to like a monthly worksheet. Notice all the reports that we can't run at the end of a period. We have to decide which ones we want to run, which ones are most relevant and whatnot. Then if I go back here, we could zip this and say, let's compress this. Here's the compressed file. We could send the Excel file instead of it, if they're okay with that, or we can send this one PDF file that has all the information in it that was created from the Excel file. That includes the balance sheet, the profit and loss report, the comparative balance sheet, the summary balance sheet, the income statement, the comparative profit and loss, the vertical analysis profit and loss, the graphs that we created for the sales graphs and the expense graph, and the sales by customer summary, the sales by item summary, the AR aging summary, the AP aging summary, the vendor balance detail, and obviously we could reformat this a little bit more nicely, but these are our graphs that we have created.